1-0. Pittsburgh winning first game of the doubleheader. As a result, the standings look like this in the National League Eastern Division. 1.5 game lead for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and for the New York Mets. All season long, it has been a struggle against left-handers. They have been shut out. Last night, McGrain of the Cardinals went half the way as 3 Cardinal pitchers combined on a 1-0 shutout. And now Zane Smith, the left-hander, shutting them out in the first game of the doubleheader. Norm Hitzges, that was as fine a baseball game as you're going to see.
Terrific baseball game. Viola and Smith really hooked up in one. You know, it was a very different game for the two pitchers, though. Smith cruised every inning. He never was in trouble. Viola was in trouble every inning till he gave way to Franco in the 9th. And you're very right about the Mets' troubles with lefties. They are 3 games under 500 in the season against lefties. They must face a lefty in game 2 and a lefty tomorrow. And Gary, what bothers the Mets more than just the record is that the lefties they've beaten have been on the lower rung teams. They've had even more difficulty with good lefties on good teams.
And for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Jimmy Leland, their manager, was saying before the game today, nobody, including ourselves, are going to believe that we're winners until we've won. That's why winning the first game of this doubleheader was so important for them. The second game a little easier now, because even if they lose it, they're still going to be in first place. Winning a 1-0 game against the Mets has got to make them believe a little more, and that's what the season's been all about for Pittsburgh.
Exactly. Well, you know the Mets very well. You work with the Mets, and the Mets always thought they had some kind of hex over the Pirates. The Pirates feared them. Let's face it, though, Gary, we have got 4 weeks to go in this season. 4 weeks from tonight in this stadium, the Mets meet the Pirates to end it all. The Mets have been the favorite. The Pirates, with 4 weeks to go, have to feel awfully good about where they are right now.
All right, second game of the doubleheader coming up. Pittsburgh Pirates, New York Mets. Pirates winning the first one by a score of 1-0. 2 left-handers in game 2. Have been shut out in 2 consecutive games. The Cardinals beating them 1-0 last night, and a 1-0 loss in the first game of the doubleheader against the Pirates. Our Sears Die-Hard starting lineup for the second place New York Mets. Tommy Herr will be leading it off, switch hitter at second base. Dave Magadan did not play in the first game. He'll be at first base in the second. The third baseman, Greg Jeffries, batting third, switch hitter. Darryl Strawberry, 0 in the first game, will be in right field. Kevin McReynolds, he'll make the start in left. Howard Johnson playing shortstop regularly now. Darrell Boston did not play in game 1. He'll be in center for game 2. Charlie O'Brien is going to start both ends of the doubleheader behind the plate. And left-hander Bobby Ojeda will make the start for the Mets. And the defensive alignment for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Bobby Bonilla will be in right field. R.J. Reynolds will make the start at center for Andy Van Slyke. Bonds in left. It'll be King, Bell, Lean, and Carmelo Martinez in the infield. Don Slott catching, and left-hander Neal Heaton pitching.
30-year-old Neal Heaton burst on the scene earlier this year. He started 9-1. He was an all-star for the first time in his career. Credit goes to the screw-knuckle curve. Heaton finally came up with an off-speed pitch to complement his fastball and his breaker. But then Neal Heaton's shoulder went sore. He didn't tell anybody it went sore. It simply went sore. And Heaton struggled, has won only twice since June 24th. But his last few outs have been good. Signs that his shoulder's healed again are definitely there.
He has been working onto the bullpen. He's ready to go as a starter against Tommy Herr, who takes it up high for a ball. There you see the numbers for Tommy Herr, acquired by the New York Mets in time to make it to a playoff roster if they should get there. And he took the 0 for 4 in the first game, but with the Mets, he has picked up 6 hits in 21 at-bats since joining them. And Heaton gets the strike. Tommy Herr can be a leadoff hitter. He was a leadoff hitter in 1982 with the Cardinals, a leadoff hitter during his minor league days. He doesn't mind being a leadoff hitter. The one thing he says he has to do, though, is concentrate a little more, because he tends to be a pretty free swinger. And he doesn't particularly like to take pitches, and he's got to take a few when he's in the leadoff spot. And he's got a 1-1 count against Heaton. He, Magadan, and Jeffries for the Mets. And it misses inside, 2-1.
Neal Heaton's just 2-7 since he began the season 9-1. And when you add John Smiley going on the disabled list, you could see why the Pirates struggled in midseason with Heaton and Smiley, 2 of their key left-handed starters, out of that rotation for so long.
Tommy Herr takes it down low, 2-1. Now the thing to remember about Heaton tonight is that Neal Heaton has made 2 relief appearances since his last start. There's Bobby Ojeda with Charlie O'Brien coming in after warming up in the Mets bullpen. So his starts have been infrequent. His last start was the 20th of August against Houston, where he finally got out of that losing slump and picked up the win. And he takes that one for a strike, and Heaton takes the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
If you're a fan of, a relative of, or a lover of someone in the Pirate bullpen, you're likely to see them tonight. Neal Heaton hasn't thrown a complete game since 1988. 52 straight starts without a complete game.
We'll show you the bullpens tonight. They're plenty full. 3-2. Tommy Herr leads it off with a base hit. Bobble by Bonds, picks it up. Herr, a wide turn, will stay at first base. So Tommy Herr leading off the ball game with a single. That's exactly what happened in game 1 by Keith Miller, who was in the leadoff spot for the Mets, but it was the only hit they would get. Herr can swing the bat. Tommy Herr gives something the Mets haven't had for a long time, and that's some switch hitters in the infield. That one got away, but Bonds found it in time.
Something else they haven't had, a guy who plays the infield who has a definite position.
Second baseman.
Yes.
Dave Magadan is like a switch hitter in that he's a left-handed batter. You see he's 3rd in the league, chasing the batting title down. And I say he's like a switch hitter as he takes a strike because he hits left-handers the way right-handers are supposed to, and he always has. This season, Magadan's batting .264 against the lefties, which is really low for him against left-handers.
You know, Gary, a lot has been made about Lenny Dykstra trying to stay ahead of Willie McGee. Willie McGee is in there at 335, and Lenny's hanging out at 341, 342, and everybody's saying, gee, Lenny has to stay ahead of him.
Magadan up the middle. R.J. Reynolds plays it on a hop, and the Mets start out the second half of the doubleheader with back-to-back singles.
Consider Dave Magadan. Magadan starts the game at 331. If he can possibly sneak ahead of Willie McGee, and then Dykstra backs up, he's the batting champion. Everybody's making this a sort of a Dykstra against McGee situation, and that guy Magadan's got a great shot. He's now only 3 points away from Willie McGee.
How about that? Huh? Good buddy Jerry Royce was just called up. He was signed to a AAA contract, and the veteran left-hander's been called up and joined the Buccos today.
I see they gave him his age as a number.
Great to see him back in uniform. There's one of the nicest guys in the game and a rock and roll fan like nobody else. Greg Jeffries takes it up high for a ball. Jeffries 0 for 3 in game 1, batting 3rd in the order. Jeffries, with Kevin Elster out at shortstop with the operation, out for the rest of the season with a bad shoulder, is now playing 3rd base on a regular basis, putting Howard Johnson at short, Herr at 2nd. Another revision in the infield for the Mets. And it's popped up. Slot, the catcher. Jeffries out of there, 1 away. There's Don Slot. Mike LaValliere started game 1, Slot in game 2. And the fans, and there are 50,000 plus. Every time Darryl Strawberry comes to the plate, this is the kind of response he gets, as any good opponent will.
He had a terrible time with Zane Smith in the first game. Smith struck him out twice, and he hit a high, lazy fly ball to center field his other time.
He's 3rd in home runs, and the RBIs are up there. He's 5th in runs batted in. You've got 4 of the top 10 RBI people in this game. Bonds, Bonilla 3 and 4. Strawberry's 5th, and Howard Johnson 9th. Straw's hitting .247 against left-handers. That's better than last year when he batted only .219 off lefties. That's one of the reasons that you throw lefties against him, and Zane Smith in the first game got him. That's the kind of pitch Strawberry has trouble with off the southpaws. One down, runners at first and second, just underway game 2 of the doubleheader, and got some bugs around on the field. You saw Strawberry swatting him away, and now Heaton's doing it. There are the base runners, Herr at second, Magadan at first. Something off the high pitch.
Neal Heaton last year started very, very badly. He was at one point of the season 1-6 and banished to the bullpen, and he seemed to find himself last year. The shoulder healed, and he came on in the second half to be 5-1. He started getting the ball lower in the strike zone and getting more movement on the fastball.
0-1 count. Another off-speed pitch, and it's 0-2. From Joe West is working the plate tonight. Tom Halligan at first, Randy Marsh at second, Harry Wendelstedt at third base. Yes, that is the Joe West who's had his encounters, which have been settled between the commissioner and Bill White, the president of the league. They've resolved the issue. There are the umpires. See the veteran Harry Wendelstedt at third base, crew chief. 0-2 to Straw. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
With Montreal, before he came over to Pittsburgh, Heaton had the shoulder troubles. Then when they cleared up from June of last year to June of this year, he was 14-2. Then those shoulder problems flared up again.
He can be strong going down the stretch for Pittsburgh this final month. It'll make a real difference for him. 1-2. Strawberry to left field. Bonds in the corner. Runners play it halfway. And after back-to-back singles by Herr and Magadan, Heaton has gotten Jeffries and Strawberry.
You know, Gary, one of the things, if you track Heaton's career, he's had trouble with finishing a season, getting a complete season and being strong at this time of the year. In his career, Heaton in September, October is just 11-21. And that's got to be a little discouraging if you're counting on him being a key factor down the stretch.
Evidence is why that shoulder may have acted up again. May have been an ongoing problem for him late in the year.
Yeah.
Kevin McReynolds looking for the big hit. 2 on and 2 out. That's King. And that's the inning. So Heaton gives up 2 singles, but they stay at first and second. Pirates coming up. Pittsburgh Pirates here at home have won 40 games this season. They're 40-27. They've taken advantage of this home artificial carpet, and they are in first place. And our Sears diehard starting lineup for the Buccos in Game 2. R.J. Reynolds did not play in Game 1. Center field to start this one. The shortstop, and doing a good job of it, Jay Bell will bat second. Another right-handed hitter, Jeff King, at third base. Bobby Bonilla, switch hitter in right field, bats cleanup. Barry Bonds had the game winner in Game 1. He'll be in left field. Carmelo Martinez, he can hit Bobby Ojeda. He'll be at first base. Don Slott, the veteran, doing the catcher. Jose Lean, the right-handed, starting at second base. And on the mound, you saw left-hander Neal Heaton. The defensive alignment for the New York Mets, Darryl Strawberry will be in right. Darryl Boston will be in center. Kevin McReynolds in left. Infield, Jeffries, Howard Johnson, Tommy Herr, and Dave Magadan. Charlie O'Brien, acquired from Milwaukee, doing the catching, and Bobby Ojeda making the start.
Bobby Ojeda's been in and out of the rotation this year. He and Ron Darling have sort of split the number 5, and it hasn't been terribly good for either one of them. He's a fastball pitcher, but fast for him is mid-80s. Mixes a curveball and a slider and a tremendous changeup he'll throw on any count. Hasn't started since July 26th, but do you know why he's starting tonight? He eats up the Buccos, 12-4 lifetime.
And the pitch to R.J. Reynolds is up high. Bobby O has beaten the Pittsburgh Pirates twice this season. R.J. Reynolds getting the start in center field for Andy Van Slyke because of the left-hander on the mound. Reynolds is batting .305 against left-handers, while Andy Van Slyke's batting .268. So that's why he's in there for Game 2.
Well, you don't have to have much of an excuse to put R.J. Reynolds in your lineup every day. Loads of people would like to do that.
Standing outfielder and a strong hitter. He has power, even though he's in that leadoff spot. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Gary, I can't think of maybe 5 or 6 other teams that this guy wouldn't be a starting outfielder on. This is a terrific player. It's a .300 hitter sitting on their bench.
And rarely has been a starter with Pittsburgh. Kind of numbers he gets as a starter. He has hit safely in 8 of his last 10 starts at a .425 clip. He has started this season all 3 of the outfield positions, 21 times in center, 11 in right, and 8 in left. And what does he do on the bench? He leads the ball club with 7 pinch hit RBIs. Ojeda with a 2-2.
He also leads the ball club in shoes. This guy loves shoes. When he goes on a road trip, he'll take about 8 to 10 pair of dress shoes and 5 or 6 pair of sneakers to match his outfits.
You got to be in style.
Hey, Art.
Got to style it.
RJ says, cuffed slacks, laced shoes, no cuffs. He wears the loafers. He's got them all out there. He's got matched red shoes, mustard colored shoes.
2-2, base hit. R.J. Reynolds leads it off with a single. So Reynolds is on with Jay Bell coming out. Those A's and Red Sox are still at it. How about it, Bill?
Well, Gary, we'll call it all A's right now. Mark McGwire, top of the third, the pitch from Greg Harris. Good night, nurse. Number 34 for McGwire, a 2-run shot. That followed a 2-run single by Harold Baines. It's now 4-0 Oakland. The A's trying to make a big statement in Boston, Gary.
Mark Quinzel, our producer and loyal diehard Red Sox fan, said, you know, the A's came into Boston like there was this little gnat in their way. They had him. He's gone. R.J. Reynolds picked off by Bobby Ojeda. Ooh. Magadan with a tag.
It appeared Reynolds was going on the first pitch here. Watch him break, and then he breaks down. And Ojeda with a terrific throw. You know, not a lot of people understand, besides having a good move, you got to put the throw right there where the first baseman can just snap it down on the runner.
We're having gnat trouble here tonight. Seeing the gnats flying around, and they're buzzing around the heads of the hitters. The pitcher, and now Howard Johnson.
He's going to drown it.
Hojo wears contacts too, I believe, so you get one underneath the contact and you got a real irritant. Hojo has done a magnificent job at shortstop, according to the Mets and the press that follow the Mets. With Kevin Elster out, he was moved back to the shortstop position where he has played on and off for the past 3 years, and they say he has never fielded better than he has during this streak at short. One down, and Ojeda facing Jay Bell, 0 for 4 in the first game of the doubleheader. Takes the pitch for the strike.
Well, Hojo's become a money player, hasn't he, Gary?
Yeah, he's been around long enough to know when the cash register clinks and what you got to do to get it.
Isn't that strange? Because in '84, when he's with the Tigers, Sparky Anderson considered him too nervous a player to trust in postseason play. And here he is, probably the bell cow of the Mets right now as we come down the stretch.
Good off-speed pitch. They're already saying around the Mets that next year, if Kevin Elster does get back and his shoulder is healed, it is not going to be an easy decision on what to do about that shortstop position. Howard Johnson continues to field it and hit. It's tough to pull him out of there. 1-2 is tagged to left center field. Kevin McReynolds, the left fielder, looking up into the haze, will haul it in, and there are 2 down.
What's the chances that the Mets would consider switching Howard Johnson or Greg Jeffries to the outfield next year, considering also the possibility of losing Strawberry?
Well, that's the line right now. If Strawberry's not re-signed, Howard Johnson would go to right. Elster would play short. If Strawberry's signed, then you've got an overabundance of infielders. 2 down, nobody on, and here's Jeff King, the third baseman. One of the very pleasant surprises for the Pittsburgh Pirates. King is batting .263 against the lefties. We should sort this out for you right now. Losing game 1 to a left-hander, the Mets are now 23-28 against left-handed starters, and a very poor .240 batting average against left-handers. That's why everybody's loading up with lefties, including the Pirates, to pitch against them. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, they are now 34-26 against left-handers. Their batting average much better, .264 off left-handers. In fact, it's 1 point better than they hit off right-handers coming into this doubleheader. So the Pirates have fared offensively much better off the lefties, and Jimmy Leland knows that. That's why they went out and got Zane Smith, who threw that one-hit shutout in the first game. And for Jimmy Leland, those are the numbers since coming on with the Pirates. Floated outside by Ojeda. 3 balls and 1 strike on King.
If you take situations, the Mets' best situation is to play in the daytime on grass against a right-hander. And in Pittsburgh, they'll play 3 night games against 3 lefties on artificial surface.
That one left center field, hit hard. Darrell Boston going back at the wall, looking
Last year, Pittsburgh was very poor against left-handers. They've turned that around this year, and this is one of the reasons. Jeff King provides them some power. They can bat him leadoff, or they can bat him down in the middle of the lineup. Gary, right now, the Buccos are on an emotional roll.
You got to believe, and they do. 1-0 lead for King. That's his 11th home run of the season, and 7 of them have come off left-handers. And Bobby Ojeda has given up 9 on the year. Bonilla to short. Hojo, long throw. He'll have to one-hop it over there to Maggott, and he did not get him.
You aren't going to see a finer play by a shortstop than this. Johnson almost into foul territory down the left field line before he makes the throw. And he comes awfully close to getting Bonilla here. The stop, the plant. Ooh, half step.
Bobby Bonilla now 2 for 5 in the doubleheader. See the gnats around Hojo? That's what he was clearing out of the eye. 2 down, a runner at first base, and here's Bonds. Takes it outside for a ball. For Bonds, all kinds of numbers. You see the 100 RBIs, including the game winner in game 1. Bobby Bonilla right behind him with 99, and Bonds up there in all kinds of offensive categories. The 31 home runs, 3rd starting the day. He is 8th in hitting. Bonds now 3rd in RBIs. 5th in runs scored, and on offensively for him. To right field, Strawberry. That will retire the Pirates, but they pick up a run on 3 hits. The home run by Jeff King. Pittsburgh with a 1-0 lead. They are trying to sweep the doubleheader from the New York Mets. And they've got a chance because they have already swept 4 doubleheaders this season. A pennant race, the evolution thereof. The National League Eastern race. There are the standings as you move along in the season. 5.5 games back. Pittsburgh Pirates enjoying the lead virtually throughout, as the Mets have done a lot of the chasing this season. The Mets have done some catching up, including a half game back. But then, after catching them, they lost last night and lost the first game of this doubleheader.
Everybody thought the Mets would catch the Pirates and pass them. They've caught them a couple times this year, drawn even with them. But Buddy Harrelson's club has never moved ahead of them. They've never put the kind of pressure on the Buccos where the Buccos had to say, gee, we're 3 out, now we're in trouble, that type of thing. This Bucco team's got a lot of character.
They're growing. That's to center field. Reynolds started in, is going to have to back up. Hauls it in. Howard Johnson, first ball hitting. Hojo retired, 1 away in the 2nd.
You know, Gary, one of the benefits of not being expected to be there is that you can keep telling yourself that for 5 months. The Pirates could keep saying to themselves, hey, we aren't supposed to be here. Let's just have a good time. And Leland, I think, has a lot to do with this club also being relaxed. He sits in his rocking chair and smokes on his cigars. He's quit cigarettes. And he says, hey, this is what we got. If it's not good enough, we don't win.
And he believes they're good enough. He thinks a lot of his players are underrated. And he's probably right. They don't get the press they do in New York and L.A. The Pittsburgh fans, they're the next ones who've got to believe. Jose Lean has made a real difference for them, and at second base he's battling the gnats. They're all over the place here. Very humid day. They had severe thunderstorms early this morning. It did not rain at all in game 1, or in fact hasn't rained all afternoon, but it's very humid, very hazy, and the gnats are attacking. The 1-1. So if it's not a good ball game, we'll just make it a B movie and call it The Attack of the Gnats at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh on September 5th, 1990, in the second game of the doubleheader while the Mets were playing the Pirates, period. Heaton with a 2-1. 3 balls and 1 strike on Boston. We're happy to welcome back Kenny Fouts, our director. 3-1. Swung on, drill. Great stop, Martinez. They get him. Oh, baby, you're going to love that. Put that one in your VCR. Carmelo Martinez.
For the last few days, the Pittsburgh papers have been full of remarks about the Martinez deal. That the Pirates made a mistake putting a couple of kids on waivers thinking they could recall the waivers, and they couldn't. And thus they hurriedly arranged a trade for Martinez. Wouldn't it be something if Martinez, who hit a key 2-run homer last night and makes a key play here, wouldn't it be something if the unwanted Carmelo Martinez starred down the stretch?
Charlie O'Brien loops one. Shortstop back. Bell makes the catch, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Neal Heaton thanks to a fine defensive play by Martinez.
The first-place Red Sox have lost 2 games in a row to the Oakland A's, but the second-place Blue Jays have been unable to take advantage of that because they've also been losing to Detroit. But tonight at Tiger Stadium, 3rd inning, Rance Mulliniks goes deep to left off Clay Parker. It's gone. That made it 2-1 Toronto. Mulliniks both RBIs for the Blue Jays. They lead the Tigers 2-1 in the 3rd. Back to Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Bill. You'll keep us up to date on what's going on in our Baseball Tonight studios. The Pirates leading here, and of course, Carmelo Martinez will lead it off. He is starting against Bobby Ojeda because he tears him up. He is 7 for 15 with a home run lifetime off Ojeda. But Bobby will work very carefully. Carmelo Martinez.
Carmelo came over from Philadelphia. Tell you what, he's the right-hand side of John Kruk body-wise, isn't he? Stocky build.
Really off the plate. He strides into the ball way off the plate in his initial stance and gives up a little bit of the outside in order to get his arms out there to punch the baseball. With Philadelphia, he batted .242 in 71 games, had 198 at-bats. See where he is? And Ojeda's trying to work the outside part of the plate, but not catching it. It's 3 balls and no strikes.
The Nats seem to be growing in numbers.
3-0 delivery. And he caught it that time.
Between innings, this guy takes one small aerosol can of bug spray and goes out on the field and attacks the 50 million of them out there for about a minute.
You've got to have heart. You got to believe. He laces that one to left. McReynolds, look out off the carpet. And Martinez is 8 for 16 lifetime against Bobby Ojeda. And Ojeda now has given up 3 singles and a home run for the first 6 batters he faced. He helped himself out by picking off R.J. Reynolds. Watch the ball kick up some water out there. Boy, it rained this morning like you couldn't believe.
Boy, yeah.
That outline around home plate, that's where it's wet. They squeegee it off around the plate, creating that square. Don Slott now, the runner at first. Another kind of guy you like to have around when you're in a pennant chase. Slott has made 55 starts now behind the plate. He has struggled the second half of the season. He was batting .382 at the All-Star break, but only .200 since then. .1-0. That'll end up in the bullpen of the Bucks.
Don Slott's a free agent after this season, along with, by the way, Zane Smith. How much do you think that added to Zane's package that he'll ask for?
They knew what they were doing when they picked up Zane Smith. He's just a quality pitcher who, for his career, has been on bad ball clubs, mostly the Atlanta Braves. He's 4-0 now with that 1-hit shutout, his best performance ever. He won game 1, complete game victory, 1 hit for the leadoff batter in the game. Slott shows it. O'Brien will throw. Charlie O'Brien picked up from Milwaukee. Kind of a surprise. The Brewers made him available. B.J. Surhoff, their starter, but O'Brien's a tremendous defensive catcher.
He's got a great arm.
And he'll throw to any base. He'll throw to first base to try and pick people off. He'll throw to third if you wander too far. He'll throw the ball around. 2-1 count to Slott.
As a part-time catcher, Charlie O'Brien nailed 40% of would-be base stealers, and that's not unusual for him. He's got that kind of an arm. If the pitcher gives Charlie O'Brien any chance at all, he's one of those guys that ranks right up there arm-wise, Gary, with Santiago and Alomar and Karkovice and people like that. He's got that kind of a gun.
That's wanting to be around for a while. Towards third, Jeffries. That's one. The relay off the mark. Great Nope, not a great pickup. Magadan almost had one. Tommy Herr ended up having to drag across the bag and had trouble making the throw as he was off balance, so they'll get the force.
Jeffries doesn't give Tommy Herr a very good throw here at second base. Watch the location. It's down and a sinker, and Herr has to check if he's got it even. A better throw there, something up in the chest area where Herr could have taken it with the back of his glove to him and just spun it on to first. They would have gotten two.
Safe at first is Slot, and that will bring up Jose Lean. Lean 0 for 4 in the first game of the doubleheader. Takes the Ojeda pitch in for a strike. He's trying to pump that average back up to where it was for most of the season. And the Pirates went through a bit of a struggle over the last 3 weeks. One of the reasons Jose Lean's bat lost some thump. Fouls that off, 0-2.
Yeah, it lost a lot of its thump.
Lean has had just 3 hits now in his, let me update it for you, last 29 at bats. That's under a 120 batting average.
And only 20 hits since the 1st of August. Ooh.
Long dry spell.
Yeah.
Ojeda tries to get him to chase one. He doesn't. Slot at first, 1 out. 1-2 count on Lean. Mets lead the season series now 6 games to 5, and these 2 teams battling in the pennant race face one another tomorrow. Next week 3 games in Shea Stadium, and then what everyone's looking at, the last 3 games of the season, these 2 teams play each other here in Pittsburgh. 1-2 to short. Hojo, Tommy Herr, Taylor made. They get the double play on that one. No runs on, a base hit, and nobody left on after 2. 1-0 Pirates. It's now been 20 innings since the New York Mets have scored a run. They didn't score last night against St. Louis, 1-0. First game of the doubleheader today, 1-0 Pittsburgh. Last time the Mets were beaten 1-0 in consecutive games was back in 1983 when the Cubs did it. So there is a non-offensive group.
And they're not even threatening. In the last 20 innings that they've been shut out, they have only 8 hits.
And only 4 off left-handers. Bobby Ojeda will lead it off. Strokes at the right center field. Nobody was playing there. Ojeda will make his way to second base. He hasn't run this far in 5 years. He's going to try for a triple. Relay throw to third in time. Sorry, Bobby.
That's a monster base running mistake. I mean, that's huge. Ojeda was out by at least 15 feet on this ball. Gary, you just don't tempt the Pirates in this situation when your pitcher leads off with a double.
Not when you've scored 1 run. No runs in the last 20 innings, you don't.
And let's face it, we're not talking about Ben Johnson here. Look at the throw. Ojeda's running out of gas. I don't know if he'd have made it to third. And it's easy. King just catches the ball and waits for Ojeda.
It's an 8-4-5 on the putout. Reynolds picked it up off the wall to Jose Lean. And the Mets, Bud Harrelson knows, have done that more often than not this season. Their base running at times has been atrocious, and it's been, unfortunately for the Mets, consistently atrocious. They've made bad base running mistakes all season long. And the Mets pitchers don't get many extra base hits, so when they get them, they need to stay on. Tommy Herr. The Mets pitchers, 1 home run for them. Doc Gooden has that. David Cone has a double. Sid Fernandez has a double. And now Bobby Ojeda has a double. Those are the extra base hits picked up by the Met pitchers all year. Chuck Hillier, the third base coach, I don't think Bobby Ojeda ever looked at him to hold him up at second base. Ojeda had his head down. He was just charging. He was going to try for 3 because he had the ball in front of him. He knew where it was. I don't think Hilliard third had anything to do with it, and Bobby knows that he made a mistake.
That's only the second extra base hit for the Mets in 3 days. The other was a double by Tim Tuffle in the Cardinal game yesterday.
0-2 the count and 1 down. Heaton. Hurd to short. Bell. 2 down. We were talking about Kenny Fouts' return. You know, Norm, there are people in this world, our director, he left us a month ago. He knew he was coming back, but he didn't tell anybody. So what does he do? All the gifts, all the fine drinks and food to take him out, say goodbye, and make it a formal occasion. And then after all that's done, he tells us he's coming back.
Well, that isn't ever going to happen again.
And now he's back in the truck. I mean, you know, what kind of people are we working with here?
Well, like my friend at Coleman at Aqueduct says, all goodbyes ain't gone.
Yeah, but we love you, Kenny. Dave Magadan takes it up high for a ball. Suddenly my mic isn't working. 1-0 count on Magadan. He had the single in the first inning. And Heaton is in with a strike.
Magadan is right now atop one of those bizarre stat standings. This guy swings and misses less than anybody in the National League. He is the true definition of a contact hitter, because when he swings, he makes contact.
Like that, towards left center field. Reynolds, center fielder, misjudged it over his head and over the wall. Ground rule double. We were talking about Dave Magadan, third in hitting. He's now 2 for 2. That's going to raise his average to about 334 or 335, which is where Willie McGee is.
Well, again, people mistake this as a Dykstra versus McGee. If Magadan can climb back into this, it's an interesting race for the batting title. Well, now look back at that base running mistake by Bob Ojeda.
So Dave Magadan picks up the double. That'll be his 20th double of the season. And with 2 down, and the Pirates leading 1-0, scoring opportunity, and Greg Jeffries batting .296. We'll try and get him home. Jeffries has seen that average dip down below the 300 mark where he likes to be. Muscles that one in the infield. Shortstop Bell is there, and that's it. Jeffries 0 for 2, and again Heaton works his way out. The Mets have stranded 3. The New York Mets came into baseball in 1962. They lost their first 9 games that season. Their first victory ever came on April 23rd against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Forbes Field. Final score, Mets 9, Bucks 1, and it was Casey Stengle's New York Mets. They've come a long way since then. The laughingstock of baseball is no longer the laughingstock. Great organization for the Mets. And it's foul back by Neal Heaton. Strike 1.
Neal Heaton started out in the American League. The first 5 years of his career, he pitched for Cleveland and Minnesota. He didn't bat for 5 years. They trade him to Montreal, and he gets 14 hits in 1987.
Obviously worked in the cage. Neal Heaton was originally drafted by the New York Mets. They tried to sign him out of high school, but could not do it. They ran into contract troubles, and Heaton ended up going on to play college baseball and then signing later on. That one to left field, Kevin McReynolds. Heaton was the #1 pick in 1979 during the draft by the Mets, but went to the University of Miami. Had a great 3 years there. In 1985 they retired his number 26. He wore at the University of Miami.
Yeah, he was the first pick in the entire draft that year. The Mets had the first selection. They made him the first pick. Gary, in Neal Heaton's 4 years in high school and 3 years at Miami of Florida, those 7 years he lost 8 games.
He went 15-1 one year. And the only one he lost was the College World Series game.
He lost 2 games in high school. 2 in 4 years.
Outstanding pitcher. R.J. Reynolds singled in the first inning. R.J. Reynolds batting .313. For R.J. Reynolds, the at-bats this season approaching 200 now. He's had 195 at-bats. 8 for 32 as a pinch hitter. He has had more pinch hits and more pinch hit at bats than anybody else on the Pirate team. 0-1 pitch to center, Darrell Boston. Reynolds is out of there, 2 down in the Buccos half of the 3rd inning. Pennant chase continues on Friday night right here on ESPN. Chicago White Sox, they are hanging. The Toronto Blue Jays aren't. You'll either see that game or the Mets in Philadelphia, 7:30 on Friday, followed by 2 more. The Reds on top, the Dodgers doing the chasing, or you'll see Houston, San Francisco Friday. That'll be the second half of our doubleheader right here on ESPN. Dave Stieb will be working that first game, the no-hitter, of course, his last time out. 2 down, Jay Bell takes it outside. Want to remind you here on ESPN, as we are in the final month of the baseball season, we will keep you posted on all the pennant races at 28 and 58 after the hour all day and all night. We'll show you the scores and what's going on in the pennant races from now to the end of the baseball season at 28 and 58 all day long here on ESPN. 2-0 delivery to Bell. 2 balls, 1 strike. Bell batting .267. And Ojeda misses down low. He has turned on some people here in Pittsburgh, and justifiably so. 3-1, and he draws the walk. That'll be the first walk given up by Ojeda. Comes with 2 down. Bill?
All right, Gary, let's head to Fenway Park where the carnage continues for Oakland. This is Doug Jennings, and a new Bash brother is born. Deep to right over the bullpen. That is a shot off Greg Harris. It makes it 5-0 Oakland as Bob Welch goes for his 23rd and the A's go for the sweep. Gary?
Just when you thought maybe they were going to struggle a little.
Yeah, sure.
Jeff King up. I'll tell you something. When we were on the West Coast a couple of weeks ago, for the first time that I've been around Tony La Russa's ball club, there was just a slight hesitation. When they acquired Harold Baines and Willie McGee, that hesitation went right out the window. And they are right back to the arrogant A's and proving it. That one drilled. Oh, mamma mia. Way back left field. Goodbye. Home run. 2 home runs in the game for Jeff King.
Well, for the sake of all those folks in Arkansas, Suey Pig, the former Arkansas All-American. And there wasn't a doubt about either one of those home runs. He had plenty left on each of them. And he takes the curtain call.
Oh, did he crunch that one? And the walk to Jay Bell cost Bobby Ojeda 2 runs. It is a 3-0 Pittsburgh lead. 12 home runs for King on the season and 47 runs batted in, all 3 in this game. That'll be fouled off by Bonilla, who singled his first time up. And Jeff King's fan club has suddenly grown a little bit larger. King loves doubleheaders. The last doubleheader against Atlanta, he went 4 for 7 with 5 RBIs and a home run. Now in this doubleheader, he's picked up 3 hits, including 2 home runs and 3 RBIs.
Let's play 3, Jeff.
Yeah, let's play 3 and see what you can do. Wow. There he is, Jeff King. Cool, calm, and collected. Ojeda misses inside. 3 balls, 1 strike. And for Jeff King, 12 of his last 19 hits have been extra base hits.
Well, he went through a slump in late August, but he's obviously out of it, as are the Pirates.
Reaching for it, Bonilla fouls it back, and the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Gary, the way the Pirates won last night was a very, very big positive signal and a negative signal to the Mets. The Pirates were down 5 runs to the Phillies. Jimmy Leland tossed Mike York, a rookie, in the 3rd inning.
To short, Howard Johnson. And that will do it. But after 2 outs, a walk to Bell and the home run by Jeff King.
ESPN Baseball Tonight, brought to you by Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. See them all at your Mitsubishi Motors dealer. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
They are roaring in Pittsburgh. We'll get an attendance figure for you shortly, I'm sure, but they're going to have 54,000. Sid Bream, along with the trainers right there, Kent Biggerstaff and Dave Tumbus. Are they loose? Sid Bream is on the bench. Darryl Strawberry will start it out for the Mets. Rips it deep right field. He knows. Goodbye. Home run, Darryl Strawberry. And it didn't take long to get out of here, and the Mets finally get a run off a left-hander.
The Mets, desperate to kickstart their engine, had to do something to shut off the emotional flow of this Pittsburgh team. The Buccos were reeling before they got home. As we said, they won an extraordinary game last night, coming from 5 behind. They win a huge game before an excited crowd today. And then they jump to a 3-0 lead and leave it to the straw, though, Gary. That's the guy that's supposed to do it.
And he brings the whole bench up to greet him. 31 home runs now for Darryl Strawberry and 91 RBIs as he ties Bonilla for 3rd in homers in the league with 31. Mitchell and Ryan Sandberg started the day tied for 1st with 32. And that'll quiet this big house a little bit. McReynolds on the 1-0 to right. Bonilla. Strawberry, he knew to watch this one.
After he hits it, he buys a ticket.
Shortstop Howard Johnson. He gets those arms extended. He can drive a baseball as far as anybody in the game. It's going to be tough for the Mets not to re-sign Darryl Strawberry. 1 away, Howard Johnson. 0 for 3 in the first game. That fly ball to center came leading off the second. Hojo's now batting .246.
Howard Johnson's turned into a clubhouse leader also on this club. When the Mets acquired Tom Herr the other day, it meant that Tim Tuffle, who stepped in and played very well at second base, was going to go back to the bench and not get a lot of playing time. Hojo went over to him in the locker room right away the day the trade occurred and said, hey, we need you. Hang in with us. Stay in there. And really gave Tuffle a pep talk. That night, Tuffle homers. The Mets win, and 2 days later, Tuffle had another key hit.
2-0 delivery, and it's taken for a strike. And immediately after that had happened, Dave Magadan, who's playing in this game but has missed 3 because of an abdominal muscle problem, couldn't play, and there's Timmy Tuffle right back in the starting lineup at first base. Hojo, inexplicably this season, has just struggled batting right-handed. He and nobody else can figure out why. But he's just not hitting the left-handers. For Howard Johnson, a .206 batting average against left-handers, .270 the other way around.
That's why the Mets have been so vulnerable. A left-hander impacts Strawberry. It forces Sasser out of the lineup, as it has tonight. It often forces Boston out of the lineup, as it did in the first game. It really does impact the Mets.
No question about that. 2-2 by Heaton, jammed him and popped him up behind second base. Jose leaned, waiting. Howard Johnson's 0 for 2, and there are 2 down in the 4th.
You know, Gary, we talk about slumps and things like that. Neal Heaton had a slump this summer, and they finally sent him for magnetic imaging on his shoulder, and what they found frightened him. The doctor said they found a shadow or a spot on the shoulder, and then told him they didn't think it was a cancerous tumor. And he said, wow. When they said that, he says it changes your whole outlook on life to be told he might have cancer.
Even when they add the no to it, it changes your whole outlook on life.
Exactly right. He said, I almost fell over. Who cares about baseball when you hear you might have cancer? Since then, the doctors looked at it and said, no, it isn't cancer. And the shoulder's gotten stronger.
1-0 delivery to Boston, and the off-speed pitch is in. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 down. Pirates leading it 3-1, each team with 5 hits in the game. Boston, the acquisition from the White Sox, a lot of playing time in center. Takes it up high. Talking about Neal Heaton against the New York Mets. This is his 4th start of the season. He is 1-1 against them. And Neal Heaton lifetime only 1 win and 4 losses against the Mets. 2-1. Boston to second. Lean is there. That'll retire the side after the leadoff homer by Darryl Strawberry. The Mets finally get on the board. 3-1 Pittsburgh. First pitch hit to Dave Magadan at first base. And Magadan goes to first to get Barry Bonds, who grounds out. 1 away. Bonds 0 for 2, but bases loaded, 2 outs, 9th inning, game 1. Outfield in. Kevin McReynolds can only watch. It's counted as a single, his 100th RBI, as the Pirates won game 1 of this doubleheader, 1-0. About tells it all, doesn't it? Martinez batting at .249, who singled in the second, takes it outside for a ball. Can you imagine if Roger Clemens has a serious problem with his shoulder? Wow. Mamma mia. That explains the wild pitches last night.
Yeah, it does. Look at the shirt on Ojeda. This is a veteran pitcher. Try to show you that undershirt of Ojeda's and talk about it for a minute. Anything to gain a little edge, Gare. What you do is you let a white shirt out from underneath your gray uniform, because the hitter is looking to pick up something white. So you let that shirt be real loose. Look at how the arms are stretched out, and flap just a little bit when you bring your arm through, and maybe, just maybe, distract that hitter just a touch.
Little edge that matters sometimes. You go for it. Second walk given up by Ojeda. Martinez has been on twice now. A walk and a single.
Now the rules say it can't be ragged. It can't have threads hanging off it or strings, but it doesn't say anything about taking that shirt, pulling a little bit so it's real baggy.
Just get the extra large. Don Slott hit into the force play his first time up. Has 4 home runs, 27 RBIs for the Pirates. Fights that one off.
Donnie Slott's had a career really marked by injuries. Had a bad leg problem early in his career, broken ankle, and of course got hit in the face by Oil Can Boyd. He's playing this year with a major leg bruise, and he sort of fought through that injury period. Tough kid.
Martinez not going to go very far off first base. Not a base stealer, and Ojeda's already picked off one man, Reynolds, on the first, so he's hanging tight at first base, talking to Dave Magadan.
You know, as big as Martinez is, he had a couple of steals with the Phillies this year. Somebody must have totally ignored him.
Runner at third. 0-1 pitch by Ojeda, misses inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pittsburgh Pirates, we mentioned earlier, 4 sweeps and doubleheaders this season. That's phenomenal. They have beaten Atlanta, Cincinnati, LA, and Philadelphia in those doubleheader sweeps. That's one of the more difficult things to do in baseball. That and winning 1-0 games.
You know, if the Mets don't win this game, and we're still very early, we're in the 4th inning, they'll be in a very uncomfortable spot, sending rookie Julio Valera to try to win the last game of the series tomorrow.
There'd been some talk that should the Mets lose the doubleheader, they might move David Cone up to pitch tomorrow's game. I asked Cone before the game, and he said, I really don't think so. And Bud Harrelson said he wouldn't do it because they've got Gooden and Cone set in the rotation to face the Pirates at Shea Stadium next week, and that's the way they want it. 1-1 to center, Boston. Slot becomes the second out here in the fourth inning, and Martinez goes back to first.
Besides, if you start changing your pitching rotation with a month to go, it starts sending signals that you really don't like to send. Start sending those panic signals, and your club can read those as well as anybody else.
Yeah, and the Mets have been through this before, especially in the past 4 or 5 years. They've been in the pennant race. Jose Lean, who's batting .266. 0 for 5 in the doubleheader. Martinez at first. Towards the hole, base hit to center. Martinez will stop at second.
That's an important hit in that it sets up a run scoring situation, obviously, but it also gets Heaton up this inning, so that even if Ojeda gets Heaton, the Pirates get to go to the top of the order next inning.
Tommy Sant, first base coach, talking with his base runner at first as Heaton comes to the plate. There's Tommy Sant, Jose Lean. His hits have been so few and far between for Lean. Tommy hasn't had a chance to talk to him down that first base very often.
And your name is
nice to see you again down here. Neal Heaton flying out his first time up.
Funny, the better Heaton's got as a pitcher, the worse he's gotten as a hitter over the last couple of years.
And Heaton to center again.
Wow.
Boston. Ball's carrying. Gets there to haul it in. No runs, 1 hit, and a couple left on base through 4. Pirates have stranded 3. Pirates leading this one 3-1. Thereafter, a sweep of the doubleheader. Winning the first game 1-0. Zane Smith, a complete game 1 hitter. The only hit in the first game, Keith Miller for the Mets in the first inning, the leadoff batter. Smith retired 19 in a row. Frank Viola, outstanding performance, working with people on base for most of the game. Non-decisioned. John Franco took his first loss of the year. Fouled off. Look out over there. O'Brien ripped that one back into the stands. 3 rows back. That'll quiet a crowd. O'Brien is 29 years old. Acquired from the Brewers for players to be named later. All kinds of those running around this time of the year. He hit only 186, had only 145 at bats. He is going to get playing time here with the Mets. Mackey Sasser still has a bad ankle. Pulled tendons and ligaments. And Sasser's out of there. O'Brien's catching both ends of this doubleheader. Ron Darling is working out of the bullpen, throwing for the Mets.
And Darren Reed stands on deck to bat for Bob Ojeda. So apparently we've seen the last of the Mets lefty.
Bobby Ojeda making just his 12th start. There's Reed, one of the call-ups by the Mets. Ojeda has worked just 115 innings this season. 1-2 delivery. Turned that one over. O'Brien, a strikeout victim. That's the first strikeout for Heaton, who's averaging just 4 strikeouts per 9 innings. He lets you hit the ball, but he won't walk you either.
Heaton has a really strange delivery in that he does not start with the ball in his hand. That's very unusual. Most pitchers will start with the ball in their hand and in the glove. Watch Heaton. He'll grip the ball. He'll set it in the glove the way he wants it. Then he'll start the windup without the ball in his pitching hand, and it'll join the glove. That's very unusual.
Reed to center field. R.J. Reynolds. Darren Reed as a pinch hitter flies out, and the Mets bats continue to be woeful. 2 down here in the 5th inning. Mets have stranded 3 base runners, all in scoring position. The home run by Strawberry in the 4th One of the extra base hits, the other a double by Ojeda, who tried to stretch it into a triple and got thrown out at third. So with 2 down and nobody on, here's Tommy Herr. Single came in the first inning. Herr's batting .266 on the season. Tommy's 34 years old now. Spent virtually all of his career with St. Louis, going over to Minnesota at the end of '88 and then to the Phillies in '89. He really likes playing in the National League. Did never adjusted in Minnesota. Loved the city and his teammates and the fans, but said, I just never could get into the game in the American League. He got really down playing for the loser in Philadelphia. He's batting .264 for them this season before the Mets acquired him, but was thinking about retiring from baseball. Herr said, I just got so tired of going to the ballpark every day when we weren't winning that I thought maybe it was time to hang it up. Now with the Mets, he says, playing for a team that's got a chance to win, I want to be around for a while. Towards short. Up the arm. Bell. Long throw. Oh, Martinez, where did you come from? That's the second fine play by Carmelo Martinez, and Bell, the good stop in the hole. 1-2-3 inning. 3-1 Bucks. Pittsburgh up 3-1. Jay Bell, their shortstop, has made 18 errors this season, most of them throwing errors. Not here.
The reaction of Bell to barehand this is terrific. And then he throws a dart to first base.
How about Carmelo? Yellow.
Hello.
That's what you get paid for at first base. Carmelo Martinez. 2 fine plays at first, and he's been on twice in the ball game at the plate. Ron Darling's on the mound.
Just turned 30 years old, and if Ron Darling has his way, he won't be a Met next year. He feels he's out of their picture and would like to go someplace else. Would love to get a ring before he goes, but feels he'd be better off someplace else. He is going to have his first losing season ever this year.
Of course, a former starter, you can see the hits per innings pitched is up there. That'll get you in trouble. Ronnie, of course, not happy as a starting pitcher about being taken out of the starting rotation. Let's see what he does here in relief. R.J. Reynolds. His single came in the first inning. Switch hitter. Batting .305 right and .315 left-handed.
Some of the scouts that saw Ron Darling at the end of last season were concerned. The gun readings on Ron Darling were down 3 or 4 miles an hour. And for a guy that doesn't throw all that hard to begin with, when your fastball drops in the 88, 89 range into the mid-80s, boy, it becomes awfully hittable.
Took something off that one, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Still a good pitcher, though. Fastball, curveball, forkball, and changeup in his repertoire.
Last 3 outings have been in relief. Now the last 4. He had 7 straight starts prior to that. As a reliever, he's allowed 10 runs in 22 innings, 3.22 earned run average. And that's it. Reynolds taking the pitch at the knees. Not happy about the call from Joe West. Darling gets the strikeout. And there's one away in the bottom half of the 5th.
If the gun readings were down last year, they probably wouldn't be right now. Darling pops this ball pretty good.
Everybody looking at the umpire on that one. There's Jay Bell. Walked in the 3rd inning with 2 down and scored ahead of the home run, the second of the game by King. King with 2 home runs and all 3 RBIs for the Pirates. Darryl Strawberry is homered in the 4th inning for the Mets. 147 Met home runs now as they lead the league in homers. But the Pirates lead the game 3-1.
Ron Darling's quite a package as a person. He went to Yale, so you know he doesn't have trouble figuring out how the doorknob works. He's been on the cover of GQ. This year's Woman magazine named him one of the 6 sexiest men in baseball. You were on that list too, Gary, by the way.
Please don't tell him what end. And Darling's delivery misses down low. 3 balls and 1 strike. What's his name? Blackwell? That's the list I've got the best shot at. The ugliest, worst dressed with the oldest ties. I qualify in all 3 categories. 3-1 towards second. Tommy Herr. Bell out of there, 2 down. The New York Mets have not been a good road team this season.
Not when you lean on those three guys. You know, Viola struggled and did not pitch well tonight, struggled, but got through 8 shutout innings. Fernandez dropped his 8th road game last night. It's obvious that Fernandez and Darling especially are better off at home.
Said Fernandez has had 3 magnificent outings in a row and has lost them all. He's getting no run support. 1-0 loss last night to St. Louis. He's only giving up 2-3 hits a game and losing. That one tagged down the left field line. It'll curve foul. My gosh. Jeff King powered a home run his first time up with 2 down and 1 down and nobody, 2 down and nobody on because Reynolds had been picked off. And then after the walk to Bell in the 3rd inning, he gets number 12. 3 RBIs, his first multiple homer game, his first 3 RBI game. Jeffries. Right-hander Darling finally gets him, and there's the first 1-2-3 inning that the Mets have had. Pirates up by 2.
ESPN Baseball Tonight, brought to you by Goodyear Eagle Radials, the best-selling performance radials in the world. And by Converse and their new line of Magic athletic footwear and apparel.
Neal Heaton, making his first start since August 20, has come out of the ball game. He's got a chance to win it. And Bob Kipper, another left-hander, is on in relief.
I don't think the Mets are going to see a right-hander. If they stayed in this city 20 days, I don't think Jimmy Leland would show him a right-hand pitcher. Oh, gee. Kipper's having a good year hits to innings pitched, but look at the home runs for a bullpen pitcher. That's a bunch.
Heaton leaves, going 5 innings. They're waiting to clear out the batting ice, and posters falling onto it in center field.
And some yahoos are out there with a poster.
We don't give them any credit. 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run on 5 hits. He didn't walk anybody and struck out 1. Darryl Strawberry providing the run in the 4th inning on a homer. I'll tell you another thing these Pirate pitchers are doing. Pirate pitchers coming into this doubleheader had walked only 12 batters in the last 13 games. In the first game, Neal Smith gave up Zane Smith rather gave up 1 walk. So that's 13 walks in 14 games. That'll help you keep runs off the board.
And no walks in this game by Pirate pitchers. By the way, we just saw first tonight when Ron Darling got Reynolds, Bell, and King in order. It's the first inning of the doubleheader that the Mets pitchers got the Pirates in order.
Now Kipper working against Dave Magadan. And it's outside 1-1. For Kipper, this season, his 5th appearance against the Mets. He has won 1 and saved 1. 7 2/3 innings, has given up only 1 earned run. Kipper has seen the Mets a few times in his career. 30 games in his career against the Mets. 1-1 to Magadan. Fouls it back. 1-2. Dave Magadan now batting .335. Double and a single. Ties in with Willie McGee for 2nd place in the batting race in the National League, behind Lenny Dykstra, who's started the day at .341. These two teams in a pennant race, all kinds of press on hand for this game from everywhere. They brought the big hitters in. Jerry Holtzman is in from Chicago, the great baseball writer. Ira Burko came in from the New York Times to do feature stories, and there are lots of other press.
Harvey Aridin's here. Peter Pasquarelli
here
from the National, and Tim Kirkjian from Sports Illustrated.
I just feel honored to be here. Here's the 2-2 to Magadan. Oh! Jose Lean.
There are some pretty well-kept secrets in America. Doug Drabeck is pretty well kept. Barry Bonds' season is a pretty well-kept secret until the last couple of weeks. This guy is absolutely astounding in the field. If you see a highlight reel of Jose Lean, it will just knock you over.
Jose Lean had gone 62 games without committing an error. here at home, and he committed one in last night's game to break the error streak. Snapped it last night, but those are the kind of plays that he makes. Greg Jeffries batting .295 as the left-handers continue to mow down the Mets, and the Buck fans really beginning to whoop it up and believe in their Pittsburgh Pirates. 1-1 towards the hole, lean, not that time. And Jeffries is on with a one-out single, his first hit of the doubleheader. 1 for 6. And for the Mets, base runner on for Strawberry.
The boos you hear are mostly out of respect. This is the guy Pirate fans in their hearts will tell you they're afraid of, because this is the one guy capable of going on a hot streak and carrying the Met team, and he's the one guy capable of bringing them back single-handed in a game like this.
Darryl Strawberry is batting over .300 this season against Pittsburgh. He has picked up 7 home runs off Pirate pitchers and has 15 runs batted in for the Mets against Pittsburgh, including that home run he picked up tonight. He fouled that back for a strike. That's been the season for the straw that stirs. June obviously his best month. You see what he's done in September lifetime, and he has a goodly number of home runs at the end of the season. He's a clutch ball player. 0-1, and he's into it. Darryl Strawberry is pumped. Contract by the boards, whether he's going to re-sign or not. He is into this pennant race. He wants into the playoffs and the World Series again. 1-1 by Kipper. Great off-speed pitch.
That home run by Strawberry put him in the top 100 in baseball history. That was number 246, and that ties him for 98th. Terrific off-speed by Kipper. Made it look like the fastball and pulled the string. Did it again.
Strawberry turns to check the call from Joe West. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 8 home runs off left-handers this season for Strawberry, with the one he picked up off Heaton. 31 overall. Oh, got him to reach. Kipper, you see Kipper give that strikeout sign? Think he's not into it? This is what sports are all about, folks.
Kipper tried for the inside corner, then moved the ball outside, off the outside corner. And as you mentioned before, Gary, that's the pitch Straw will often have trouble with from the left-hander. They'll break the ball off the outside part of the plate. Straw will go out there after it.
And he did. First strikeout for Kipper, 2 down. Jeffries at first base. Pirates leading 3-1. They won the first game 1-0.
In case you're wondering about the seemingly endless store of Pittsburgh left-handers, Smith pitched the first game. Heaton started. Here's Kipper. Tomlin goes tomorrow. He's left-handed. Smiley's a left-hand starter. And they've still got 2 other lefties in the bullpen.
Got Jerry Royce.
That's right. And Bobby Patterson's down there, too.
Outside for a ball. There's Jerry standing up at the end there, 47. I seem to go overboard for Jerry Royce because I just admire the man so much. One of the nicest guys you'll meet and a real competitor. And I'm happy to see he was able to get back into baseball after being released. Spring training this year. 2-0, 2 down. Runner at first. Kevin McReynolds, 262 on the season. Jeffries at first base. Left field, playable. Bonds. Kipper gets it done. No run. He gives up just a single, and the Mets will leave a base runner on, but that's only the 4th they've left on in this game. Bobby Bonilla leading it off, takes the first pitch from Ron Darling down low, ball 1. Bonilla had a single against Ojeda in the first inning. Bobby Ojeda, 4 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, and no strikeouts. And Bobby asked me to make sure we said hi. His brother-in-law, Louis Magone, down in Florida, is in the hospital. Bobby sends along best wishes for a speedy recovery. He's thinking of you here tonight. 2-0 by Darling. 2 balls, 1 strike. Bonilla 2 hits in the doubleheader, 2 for 6. 287 his batting average. Three and 1. Darling takes it full, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Towering fly ball, right center field. Boston and Strawberry. Boston, the center fielder, on the warning track, about 370 away.
Here comes Barry Bonds, who seems to be taking the lead in the MVP voting, with his teammate Bobby Bonilla probably running second right now. Bonds is putting together an incredible season, and he's got a chance to do something nobody's ever done. Gary, no one's ever hit 300, scored and drove in 100 runs, and stole 50. Imagine, just think of what that means. Scoring and driving in 100, stealing 50 and hitting 300. My goodness, what an all-around year for Barry Bonds.
Means you're going to retire early if you want to. 2 balls and no strikes on him. 1 for 5 in the doubleheader, batting .306. And he fouls that off the other way and deep into the Mets bullpen. He also is the only National League player who scored 95 or more runs in each of the past 3 years, and he's going to do that again this year. He's already up to 89, and he still has a month to go on the season. He'll crack a lot of offensive categories. Fights off Darling's delivery. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
If he happens to have a red-hot September, now this guy might post numbers that are just mind-boggling. We're talking 30 homers, 50 steals, 120 runs batted in, over 100 runs scored. And we're talking about a season that ranks amongst the greatest ever.
Darling misses outside with it, and the count goes full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Hard to believe that this guy was definitely on the trading block during spring training.
3-2, and fisted him to center field. Well, that ball's moving back on Boston. All this humidity here tonight, it's kept the ball up in the air and traveling. CFA football right here on ESPN. It'll be Stanford and Colorado Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern, as the football season is underway. National Football League will be getting underway. College football's already putting them in the books. That's Thursday at 8, Stanford, Colorado on ESPN. 2 down here in the 6th inning. The Bucks are leading it 3-1. Each team has picked up 6 hits. Martinez has been on base twice, getting the walk and the single off Ojeda. Now faces the right-hander Darling.
You know what you'd like to find out is just how close Pittsburgh came to moving Barry Bonds to LA for a pitcher and apparently third baseman Jeff Hamilton. Instead, when they couldn't make that deal, they traded Billy Hatcher.
Usually the case that the trades that aren't made are a whole lot more interesting than the ones that were, but you usually don't hear about the ones that weren't made.
They obviously had a huge surplus of wonderful outfielders.
Martinez taking the pitch inside. Alejandro Pena, bullpen for the Mets.
Darling is due to hit 4th next inning, and obviously with the Mets scrambling for runs, if they get anybody on base, he'll be hit 4.
2-1, 2 down.
Martinez,
the outside corner, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Carmelo, if he throws another one there, pal, there's a spot on the bench just waiting for you.
Darling's 2-2 pitch, and he'll keep the at-bat alive. From San Diego to Philadelphia to Pittsburgh for Carmelo Martinez, who plays both the outfield and the infield. Martinez picked up his first Pittsburgh home run to tie the game last night in their 11-7 win, comeback win against the Phillies. They were down 5-0 in that game, and he grounds that one to third. Jeffries with a long throw, Gets it over to Magadan in time, and that'll do it. 3 up and 3 down. Ron Darling retiring all 6 that he's faced, but Pittsburgh still up by 2. The Pirates lead the Mets by a game and a half in the pennant chase in the Eastern Division of the National League, having won the first game of the doubleheader 1-0 and leading here 3-1. Bob Kipper to Howard Johnson. The Pirates have 28 games left, 15 of them at home, 13 on the road starting today. They will play the Mets again tomorrow. They will go to New York and play 3 at Shea Stadium next week, and then the last 3 games of the year will be here in Pittsburgh. 2 games at Shea, and then 3 here in Pittsburgh to close out the year. Hojo takes it inside. That's because of the lockout, thus the extended season. What will they mean, if anything? Will it come down to those final 3?
All the Pirates and Mets remaining games are within the division. Both teams through with the West for the year. Pittsburgh just ate the West alive.
Hojo fouls it back, but they've had trouble against the East.
Yes, it's barely over 500.
Home runs that matter. 7th inning on. Right up there with Mark McGwire in that department.
Tell you what, there's 5 rich people right there.
Clutch hitters.
Yes.
Clutch long ball hitters.
Has McGwire's ball come down in Boston yet tonight?
Yeah, you almost put that on Lansdowne Street. Just caught the top of the screen at Fenway.
Gary, he almost threatened Maine with that shot.
He was headed in the wrong direction, but never know.
Yeah, but those ones hit those hard, that hard, Gary. They can bank and turn left or right when they get to a certain altitude.
Oakland A's are leading 6-0 on our last check. We'll keep you posted on that and all the other games in our Baseball Tonight studios. 2-2 delivery. Hojo reaching. That's what he's doing against left-handers. Martinez at first. And Howard Johnson is now 0 for 6 in this doubleheader. Bill Patrick's keeping us up to date. What's going on, William?
All right, Gary, you were just talking about home runs, weren't you? Let me show you one. That is Cecil Fielder. Watch it. Watch it. How about it? Upper deck, number 44 for Fielder. 114 RBIs for him now. That cuts the Blue Jays lead back to 5-3 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Back to Pittsburgh.
Does he deserve MVP votes?
I think so. I see people talking about everybody else and saying, well, Fielder doesn't deserve it because his team's not winning. I don't believe that. I think it's a baloney excuse.
It's a tough call. Here's Keith Miller pinch hitting for Darrell Boston. Boston went 0 for 2. Miller started in the first game in center field. His first start in a while. One of the most injured plagued players in Major League Baseball. Every time over the last 4 years Keith Miller's had a chance to play regularly, he gets hurt. 0-1. That one missed. He was the Mets starting center fielder. Got hurt. They picked up Darrell Boston. Boston plays center, does well. He doesn't have a position. They move Jeffries over to third base, put him in at second base. The very first game he plays, he gets hurt. He's out of there again. And it's been that way for him for the last 3 years. 1-1, foul back. 1-2.
One last thought on the Fielder thing here. You know, people say, well, yeah, Detroit's not winning anything with him. Hey, without him, they might have finished in the International League.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's got to be given serious consideration. One of the arguments that's been put forward is there ought to be 2 awards instead of 1 in that category.
A sort of a best season
award, and the other one an MVP, where the criteria is he mattered most to the team, with the idea being leading them on to victory, sort of thing.
Good thought. And then, of course, there's the reasoning that they won't vote for Bob Welch as MVP because he's got his own award to go for, which is another kind of a phony piece of.
The pitcher shouldn't receive MVP awards.
Yeah.
Miller takes it. 3 balls and 2 strikes. John Franco, I asked him about that before the game. And he's got to be considered for the saves he has out of the bullpen. And he said, sure, so long as it's me.
Well, you know, you wonder what does Bobby Thigpen qualify for?
Yeah.
You know?
Miller, left center field. And will be hauled in by R.J. Reynolds. 2 down, 7th inning.
You know, the reason they won't vote for Thigpen as MVP is, well, he's a pitcher. And then the reason they won't vote for him for Cy Young is, well, he's got his own award, the Rolaids Award for relief. Golly, I'm telling you, guys like that deserve consideration for all of them.
Writers who vote on that, who have just a different viewpoint on that, and those are the arguments they make. A lot of banners around here tonight. A lot of people to have them. Paid attendance tonight, 49,793. And the total, the largest crowd of the season in Pittsburgh, 52,407. That's the largest non-opening day crowd that they've had here in 13 seasons. 1-0, and for what they've seen here in this doubleheader, they ought to come back.
Well, you talk about lunacy. You should have seen the ticket windows today. They also put playoff tickets on sale today. I got a funny feeling getting here early today. Some people managed to take a long lunch hour today and cut by the stadium.
Can't blame them for that. Those are some of the signs and banners. 1-1, 2 down. Bucks are leading this game 3-1. Darryl Strawberry's homer in the 4th inning off Neal Heaton, the starter and pitcher of record, the only run for the Mets. Jeff King, 2 home runs in this game and the 3 Pittsburgh RBIs. That one is fouled off, 2-2.
Jim Leyland probably wanted a couple of innings for Kipper. When he took Heaton out after 5, you got to figure he was thinking, gee, if I can get 2 innings from Kipper and then go to somebody else. But Kipper's thrown so well, you wonder if Leyland and Ray Miller might consider an extra inning for Kipper. Let him go to the 8th.
I think he will. O'Brien with a 2-2 on him. Laces it. Fair ball right off the chalk. Chased down by Bonds. Takes that weird hop. O'Brien has it in front of him, but he can't afford to be thrown out. And he will stay with a double. O'Brien, a 2-out double here in the 7th inning.
And now we'll see Timmy Tuffle to hit for Ron Darling. Hits the paint. That's actually paint on the artificial surface there. And this is one of those places where you can get a strange hop off that wire down the left field line.
Second base. That's a very important run here in the 7th inning. Remember, the Mets went without a run scored for 21 innings before Strawberry's home run in the 4th. So when they get opportunities, they need to take advantage of them. Timmy Tuffle coming off the bench for the Mets this season. Spot starter, 1st, 2nd, and as a pinch hitter. Timmy's 8 for 23 with 2 pinch hit home runs and 8 pinch hit RBIs. And he's being asked to do it again right here. Kipper floats it for the strike. Timmy's batting .274 with 3 home runs off left-handers. There's Jerry on your right, Stan Belinda on the left.
Mets probably can't believe a right-hander's actually throwing in this series someplace.
Probably only face 1 hitter if he gets in.
Right-hand hitter and get him right back out of there again, yeah.
Runner at 2nd, 2 down. And that's with that double now out hitting the Pirates 7-6. But O'Brien hoping to score as the tying run at the plate in the person of potential tying run in the person of Tuffle. Pirates now won 4 games in a row with that victory in game 1, including all 3 in this current homestand. And Mets have lost 2 in a row. Drills it to left field. Going back on it, Bonds. He's got room short of the warning track and hauls it in. Timmy Tuffle flies out. Runner left on at 2nd base. From Pittsburgh, it's 7th inning stretch time. Thank you, Bill. We're going to see our 3rd Met pitcher in the game, and also the change in center field. Keith Miller stays in for Darryl Boston in center. And on the mound, Alejandro Pena.
From Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic, 31-year-old Alejandro Pena came over to the Mets in the trade that also brought Mike Marshall. and sent Juan Samuel to the Dodgers. He's been a middle inning and spot pitcher for them this year. It's hard to recall when you see Alejandro Pena right now as a setup man and a long man that this guy in 1983 led the National League in earned run average. Then some shoulder miseries, some up and down seasons. Mostly a bullpen pitcher for the last 5 years of his life. There was a time, Gary, this guy was a dominating starting pitcher.
Took him almost 2 years to get back from that injury, nursed along by Tommy Lasorda and his staff with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He has not allowed a run in the last 6 outings over 9 innings. So he's been pretty tough of late for the Mets. And he's got to try and hold the Pirates here.
83-84. This guy was 24 and 15 combined with an earned run average of 2.6 for those 2 seasons as a starter. That's a dynamite pitcher.
Let's see what he does here as Don Slott leads it off against him in the breaking ball. This is up high, bottom of the 7th inning. We've mentioned some of the call-ups. Quickly run through those for you for these 2 teams here with the expanded roster. They've got their people up. The Mets called up Jeff Ennis, a pitcher, Jeff Musselman, Kelvin Torvey, an infielder outfielder, and Chris Jellick, an infielder catcher, have joined the Mets. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, 8 players have been added. John Canzalosi, the outfielder, Carlos Garcia, a shortstop, Orlando Merced, first baseman outfielder from Buffalo, and then Steve Carter, outfielder, Mark Ryle, outfielder, Tom Prince, catcher, Vicente Palacios, and Jerry Royce. Off Alejandro Pena's glove to Tommy Herr, 1-4-3. The Pirates have got 36 players available for tonight's game. A little crowded.
Too bad we're not going to get a chance to see Vicente Palacios pitch tonight. We could see the newest in the baseball major league pitches, the taco pitch.
Get any more pitches, we're going to have to put out a dictionary in Major League Baseball to define them. Jose Lean single his last time up, 1 for 6 in the doubleheader. Pena's pitch is fouled off. 3-1, Pittsburgh on top. If they can win, they will extend their lead to 2.5 games over the Mets and will have swept a doubleheader for the 5th time this year. But the Mets have come from behind. This season, the Mets have come from behind wins 30 times this season. U.S. Open's been rolling, and there have been some upsets. We'll keep you updated on that here on ESPN as well. McEnroe has won his match over Wheaton. How about that? Straight sets. Foul ball hit him in the batter's box. Lendl was upset today
by Pete Sampras. We got a chance to have 3 Americans in the semifinals of the U.S. Open if Andre Agassi should win his quarterfinal.
They're packing him in. Johnny Mack, a great draw. Of course, he lives on Long Island. Flushing Meadows, right across from Shea Stadium. Talk about some traffic jams. When the Mets are home and they're playing the U.S. Open, forget it. Take the number 7. Here's the 0-2. Fouled off the fist. It remains a 2-strike count on Lean.
Gary, your impressions of what happens in this division if the Pirates go ahead and finish this game off tonight? Wouldn't the Mets be in a difficult position emotionally? The Pirates would have gotten back home and kick-started this engine and be on a real high.
They'll be that. 0-2 is looped. Foul territory. Strawberry will not get to it.
And it would make tomorrow's game plenty important for the Mets. I know it's too early with 4 weeks to go to be saying critical game and things like that. But if the Mets lose that one, hey, a 3.5 game edge in the last 4 weeks is a nice cushion.
I don't know if it's a cushion, but it's certainly, you want to be on top and not behind. Yeah. Always, but especially in the final month.
Well, and they'd have done it eyeball to eyeball with them too.
I think that's what matters most. I think it's more important that the Pirates win here than the importance on the Mets losing. The Pirates are going to establish more credibility, gain more confidence. Most of the Mets have been through this kind of a playoff situation. They know the game's left. I don't think they'll rattle, but the Pirates are just going to be that much tougher. Pena's pitch towards second. Tommy Herr. And there are 2 down here in the 7th inning. Our pennant chase updates, as we mentioned earlier, will be coming along. Baseball tonight, of course, will bring you all the highlights and all the scores. But our newest edition on ESPN at 28 and 58 past every hour. You will get up to the minute scores on what's going on in baseball's pennant chases. All the current scores. That's 28 and 58 past the hour. Begins at 2 p.m. Eastern time daily right here on ESPN.
You want to get Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner, the Mets announcers, and hang around waiting for the first update this morning?
Take that, CNN. 0-1 count, 2 down. And if you add 2 more, we'll add 3. That one blooped to right field. Strawberry, second baseman Herr, nobody gets to it. And it'll be a dying Quail single. Bob Kipper, the pitcher. Pitchers have done all right tonight. Ojeda had a double earlier on for the Mets, and Kipper picks up a 2-out single.
It's an indication of just how much faith Leland and pitching coach Ray Miller have in the way Kipper's throwing the ball that they let him hit for himself here.
Just out of the reach of Tommy Herr, who was chasing it down.
Let's see, that's hit number 1 of the year for Bob Kipper. Can't imagine he's got a monster number of them in his career. It is hit number 13 in his career.
He's only had 7 at-bats this year.
Yeah, that's 2 straight years he's gotten 1 hit, though.
Another running record. R.J. Reynolds, .310 batting average. Pena with 2 down and the runner at first. Each team 7 hits in the game. And it's outside to Reynolds, who gained his single in the first inning.
Kipper's fun at first base. You can tell he hasn't run much. Magadan's playing behind him. Kipper gets about a 2.5-step lead and leans back to first just in case he has to go that way.
That's a smart base runner for a guy who's on for the first time. Up high by Pena, and a cripple opportunity here for R.J. Reynolds. Heaton went 5 innings, a run on 5 hits, the home run by Strawberry, no walks and a strikeout. Kipper on in relief. For the Mets, Ojeda went 4, gave up 3 runs on 5 hits, 2 walks, no strikeouts. Darling 2 perfect innings with a strikeout. Now Pena.
Pena's working himself into difficulty here, and the way the Mets offense has struggled, 1 run in their last 25 innings. They can't give up any more in this game.
Taking all the way, 3-1.
1 run in 25 innings for the Metropolitans. My goodness.
What makes that number even more important is that the New York Mets, coming into this doubleheader, were 5th in average and 1st in runs scored in the league. So you're not just, and 1st in home runs too in the National League. So you're not just shutting down just any offense.
Well, they're second only to Detroit in the entire Major League in runs scored, in the American League as the designated hitter.
Runner going, swung on and missed. Pena gets the strikeout. No runs, 1 hit. Kipper left on. We've completed 7. And the Bucks, who won the first game 1-0, lead this one 3-1. It's late in the ball game, and the Pirates are leading it by a score of 3-1, and are really dominating the ball game. Want to remind you, on Sunday night right here on ESPN, the St. Louis Cardinals, a rebuilding St. Louis Cardinals team, and a Chicago Cubs team taking a look at some of their young players. You'll see them all 8 o'clock Eastern. John Miller, Joe Morgan at historic Wrigley Field. Under the lights, St. Louis and the Cubs Sunday night, 8 Eastern. Bob Kipper will face the leadoff batter for the Mets, Tommy Herr. Magadan and Jeffries will follow in the 8th. .275 lifetime hitter, outside by Kipper. With Elster out for the rest of the year, and the acquisition of Herr, that at least solidifies the positions for the Mets infield the remainder of the season.
Mets have lost another good role player for the year, Mark Carrion, who blew out a knee. He's out the rest of the season.
He's playing some outfield. Keith Miller now will have to assume that job now that he's back off the DL. 11-year veteran Tommy Herr. Lives in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Takes the strike, so he was happy to go to Philadelphia because he was actually able to commute back and forth. And New York's, he said, is second best for me. At least I can get home a little bit, see the wife and family.
Mets trying to make good as the favorite in the East. This is the 7th straight year the Mets have been the preseason favorite to win the National League East.
2-1 is up high. Most of the writers picked the Bucks to finish 5th.
Yeah.
Jimmy Leland was pointing that out before the game today, and he said, I can't blame writers for doing that. Somebody asked him where he would have picked the Bucks. He said 3rd at the start of the year.
Leland's club is the only one that didn't win the division at least once in the 80s.
And the walk, and that's not what Kipper wanted to do. That brings that potential tying run to the plate. It'll be Dave Magadan coming after we come back. Bill?
All right, Gary, I think the Oakland A's have made their points. It's the 9th inning now, and Rob Murphy pitches to Mark McGwire, and this ball is off the wall. 2 more runs scored. That made it 9-0. It's now 10-0, and isn't that Mike Nagy warming up in the bullpen? Let's go back to Pittsburgh.
Well, here's a team that was struggling offensively until they go in to play the team they'll probably face in the American League Championship Series.
Yeah, there may have been that may be the hallmark cards of baseball series, when you care enough to send the very best message possible.
They have done that in no uncertain terms.
See you in October.
Dave Magadan is up the average a couple of points tonight with that 2-for-3 performance, and Bob Kipper has the fans settle back a little bit and quieted down with that walk, with her on at first base and nobody out in the middle of the order coming up. Thought about it, laid off it. It's a strike. 0-2. Magadan has just nailed Pittsburgh pitching. He's had 13 hits in 24 at-bats. Over 500 this season against Pittsburgh. Kipper with the 0-2.
The Mets have Jeffries, then the left-hand hitter Strawberry, then the righty McReynolds and the switcher Johnson, so there's really not an advantage if they have to go to the bullpen one way or another. Mets are pretty well balanced as they go through the middle of the order.
It's one thing those switch hitters in the order will do for the Mets. Make it a little tougher to make changes against them. Magadan looks at the floater and it misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We have seen magnificent pitching in this doubleheader. When the heat's on and you get major league pitchers just painting inside, outside, up and down, you see some of the best baseball you can hope for, and we've seen it in both ends of this doubleheader today. Kipper with a 2-2. Pull the string.
You will hardly see that. Magadan strikes out very seldom, and Kipper with a nice off-speed breaker. And a great spot for it, too. Sweeping down and away.
Dave Magadan has struck out only 41 times in 360 at-bats this season. Now Jeffries, Herr the base runner at first, 1 out. Jeffries a 1-for-6 doubleheader.
Important man for Kipper, because the guy on deck you don't want to be the leading run in a game, Strawberry. He can turn the momentum around with one swing.
1-0 to left. Bonds in the alley. Herr right at halfway will go back to first base, and there are 2 outs. So here's one of those wonderful confrontations in this game of baseball. 8th inning. Pirates leading 3-2, trying to sweep a doubleheader. Runner at 3-1 rather. Runner at first base, and Darryl Strawberry with 2 down. Jimmy Leland said, if you can't get excited about watching these two teams play baseball, you can't get excited.
If you're Kipper, you got to be aware of the fact that if you're going to pitch the ball outside of Strawberry, it's got to be well outside. You can't leave the ball over the outer half of the plate.
2 balls, no strikes.
The book on Strawberry, inside or well outside. But that outer half is a deadly spot to put the ball to it.
3 balls, no strikes. 31st home run, 4th inning for Strawberry.
If Strawberry walks, Gary, do you bring the right-hander to face McReynolds? Got to consider it.
6-1, half dozen of the other, depending on how you feel Kipper is. The 3-0. Let him swing. 3-1. Darryl Strawberry, 4th inning, leading off against the left-hander Neal Heaton. Neal Heaton went back to the bench and said that was a missile. 3-1. Ball 4. Kippers walked 2, both in this inning. First and second, 2 down.
First 2 walks of the game by Pirate pitchers, and they walked only 1 in game 1.
And Jimmy Leland is on his way out. And he's already decided he's going to make the change, and he will go to the right-hander. Feels Kipper's tiring, and Ted Power, who's been one of the people that have come on to save games, will come on to face Kevin McReynolds.
With the Oakland A's winning big in Boston, the Chicago White Sox have to win to stay 6.5 games out. A scoreless game against the Royals in the top of the 7th. Frank White with 1 out. The line shot to Lance Johnson. Here comes Danny Tarnable. The play at the plate, and he is called out at home plate as Carlton Fisk makes the tag. Tarnable can't believe it, but the game stays scoreless as they move to the bottom of the 7th. 0-0, the Royals and the White Sox. Let's head back to Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh.
I think Danny and John Wathan thought he was safe.
I believe from their body language that they did.
Bob Kipper wanted to do a little bit better. See what Ted Power can do.
This is 35-year-old Ted Power from Guthrie, Oklahoma. Still primarily a fastball pitcher at 35 years old. Mixes a slider and change.
Kevin McReynolds looks at 1 for the strike. Runners at first and second, 2 down, 3-1 Pittsburgh leading.
Teddy Power has a win this year. He's one of 19 Pittsburgh pitchers who've won at least 1 game. All-time record is 20. 20 pitchers win at least 1 game in a season. That was the Yankees last year.
Well, spreading it out. 0-1. Mack lines it towards the gap in right center field. It's caught. Bobby Bonilla. $52,000. Mighty happy that didn't fall in. "3-1 Pirates." They won the first game 1-0. Zane Smith a complete game 1-hit shutout of the Mets. And now looking to sweep. I keep going back to the fact they have swept 4 doubleheaders because I can't believe it. That just doesn't happen. You don't sweep doubleheaders, much less 4 in the same year, and now they're after 5. Bell, who's had the big night, the MVP of the second game, along with Jeff King. Bell scored a run in the 3rd inning with a walk, and King, who's brought him home in the 3rd inning with a homer after a solo shot in the 1st, is waiting on deck. The 0-1. Alejandro Pena missing. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kipper 2 2/3, no runs, 2 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Power coming on to get the final out in the 8th. .267 batting average, and Pena goes behind. 2 balls and 1 strike. Bell waiting. 2-1. Fouls that off. That'll bring it to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Gary, the scary thing about the Pirates contending and being in first place at this time is if you consider the prime years of a Major League Baseball player being from 27 to 32, the Pirates may be still too young to be in this position. Bell's just 24 years old. Jeff King, the starting third baseman, is 25 years old. The outfield, Bonds is still a baby. He's been here for a long time, but he's only 26.
Swung on a foul tipped, and that'll take care of it. One down as Bell is struck out. Second strikeout for Pena.
Bonilla's only 27, and Van Slyke's only 29.
Oh, they're the team of the 90s, if you believe the material they're putting out and the way they're playing right now. Yeah. And they certainly love this one. Jeff King, standing ovation. Maggott and the first baseman over near the stands. He'll get no help from the fans, but it doesn't matter.
Bream, the regular first baseman, and Duvalier, the regular catcher, just a month ago turned 30. Lind is still a kid. You look at the pitching staff. Drabek, their ace, is a kid. You know, comparably age-wise in baseball, he's very young for an ace.
Look at these 2 home runs. What swings he's got. First inning, that was in the third, a 2-run homer. You see that long swing by King. When he gets the arms out there, he can really launch a baseball. He has that definite home run cut. 0-1 to him. The third, fair ball into the corner. And the king of doubleheaders heads for second base. He's got a double. 2 home runs and a double.
Charlie O'Brien talks with Pena. That's to buy the bullpen a little time if they should want to get somebody up and get him ready to pitch to Bonds, the left-hand hitter.
All he's done in this doubleheader is go 4 for 8, hit 2 home runs, a double, and deliver 3 RBIs. Following up the doubleheader on August 14th when he went 4 for 7, a home run, and 5 RBIs. Crown him king. Bobby Bonilla. Single came in the first. Batting .287. That's a big run out there. With the Mets getting only 1 more at bat, you can widen that from a 2-run to a 3-run lead. It changes the whole complexion of the 9th inning.
Well, you got a couple of real bashers to do it. This guy's looking for RBI number 100, and the guy behind him's already got 100.
Bonds got his, picking up the RBI in the 9th inning of the first game. Going for one there, wasn't he?
Gary, I'm going to give you a set of statistics. You tell me how good this player is in today's day and age. This player, the mythical player, hits .290, hits 25 homers, drives in over 90 runs, and steals 25 bases.
$2.5 million.
That's what the 3 Pittsburgh outfielders will average this year.
1-1 by Pena, misses down low. The Mets have Jeff Musselman in the bullpen, called up. He's been with the Mets earlier at the major league level and at AAA this season.
He's up to pitch to Bonds. That's if Harrelson wants to go left to Barry Bonds.
2-1, 1 down, runner at second. Evens the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jeff King. Mets are going to remember his name after this doubleheader.
Well, this is the kind of season it's been for the Bucks. Keyed by Bonilla and Bonds with contributions from a whole bunch of people.
2-2. Down the left field line, curving foul.
You know, Gary, the other big plus for the Pirates as they head into September is they don't have anybody at all on the disabled list. They're as healthy as they've ever been this year.
And that's so important for any sport, any team.
Well, and on a team that lost more than 600 games to injuries last year. Van Slyke, Bream, Lavalier, God, everybody was gone last year at parts of the season. This year they've been incredibly healthy, and it shows in the standings.
So, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pena takes it full, 3-2 on Bonilla. Alejandro Pena trying to keep that Pirate lead at 2. Howard Johnson moves in behind King, the base runner. No throw. Mets have had this could be a very long 36 hours. 3-2. Again popped up down the left field line. It'll be in foul territory. Howard Johnson, the shortstop with the angle, makes a nice catch. Tough play because he had a long way to go. This broadcast, presented by authority of Major League Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted prior to midnight without the express written consent of Major League Baseball and that couple at the Dome.
Now let's see what the Mets want to do. How about pitching around Barry Bonds and forcing the hand of Jim Leland a little bit?
Ow.
Hello. Yeah, how about pitching around Bonds and see if Leland would go to the pinch hitter Bream for Martinez and then bring the lefty Musselman to pitch to him. Yeah, looks like they're going to pitch around him.
Bonds is hitting .359 against the Mets this season. To go along with a runner in scoring position number is a real likelihood to be walked. MVP votes, you got a couple you have to consider right here.
Good golly. Look at those numbers for guys back to back in the order.
That's why Jimmy Leland says he thinks maybe the Pirates do not get all the credit due his players. Says these are superstars we're talking about. These are premier players.
Now Leland may go to Bream because even if the Mets come with a left-hander pitch to Bream, he's got his best defensive first baseman in the game for the 9th inning then.
Martinez has played tonight.
Yeah.
He might be the best defensive first baseman.
Ooh, wait a minute. He's not going to go to Bream. He's going to go to Mark Ryle.
Mark Ryle was just called up. Has the bat in hand.
Ooh, this is a bit of an odd move, isn't it?
And there's the announcement. So he's officially in.
Now, though, if the Mets wish to go to a left-hand pitcher, he could come back with a right-hand hitter for Ryle and still save Bream to play defensively.
Little mind games. Sports Center coming up after our ball game for Pittsburgh. Dan Patrick and Bob Lee are there. LT has re-signed. They'll tell you for how much and how long. U.S. Open, the upsets. And for the Red Sox, Roger Clemens has trouble with the shoulder. All that and all the day's scores coming up on Sports Center right here on ESPN.
Gary, we may have seen the American League Cy Young Award decided the last 2 nights. Clemens beaten by Oakland, and tonight Welch shuts out the Red Sox to go 23-5, and that could well decide it, hey?
Certainly doesn't hurt. Pena with runners at first and second, and Ryle fouls it back. Strike one. Well, here's a young man getting the opportunity. There are the numbers at AAA Buffalo with the Bisons. You can see a strong offensive season. Getting on base.
Ryle's been around a few years. He's one of those players right on the lip of the major leagues.
Can't find a home. Contract purchase today. He appeared in 3 games in August in his first call-up. And he won the American Association batting title with that .334 average. Trying to get a contact hitter in there, and he goes down on the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Pirates leading it 3-1. You're looking ahead. Howard Johnson, Keith Miller, and Charlie O'Brien are due up for the Mets in the 9th inning. Alejandro Pena, the 3rd Met pitcher, trying to get out of the bottom of the 8th.
If you're wondering why Buddy Harrelson didn't come with the left-hander to pitch to Ryle, well then Leland could have come back with Reedus to face Musselman, and this is obviously the setup that Harrelson prefers. Pena to Ryle.
And Pena gets the strikeout. So Alejandro Pena has 3 strikeouts. We go to the 9th inning. The Pirates trying to sweep a doubleheader.
ESPN Baseball Tonight, brought to you by Isuzu. For features, styling, and price, there's no comparison. By Days Inns. Days offers great rooms, great value at over 1,000 great locations. By Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. And by Pizza Hut, home of pan pizza that's winning the hearts of America. Pizza Hut, making it great.
Gary Thorne, Norm Hitzges, great to have all of you with us. Second half of this doubleheader, and glad to be able to bring you the final inning of the first. Sid Bream, a defensive replacement for Martinez at first as we go to the ninth inning. And also great to have the Pittsburgh fans with us tonight with their sellout crowd here. Blackout lifted. So happy you were able to see your Pirates, and they lead it 3-1. And a chance to extend their lead to 2.5 games. Howard Johnson. And he takes it for a strike. Ted Power is looking for the save. Power has 6. The bullpen of the Pirates has been their bane this season. They are 25-16. Their ERA 3.06. And Royce gets up again on the right to throw, and Belinda on the left. The bullpen 1-5 in their last 11 games with a 5.14 ERA. They have lost games out of the pen throughout the season, and especially of late. Their save leader is Landrum, who has 13. They have used 17 different relief pitchers. 1-1 the count on Howard Johnson. Mets down by 2 in the ninth. He just wants on. 2-1.
While it hasn't been a terrible season from an injury standpoint for the Buccos, it's been a season of a lot of maneuvering. Leland's moved a lot of people up and down. They've used 42 players already this year. Royce would be 43 if he appears tonight. He's had to pull a lot of strings this season.
Jimmy Leland used York, Landrum, and Patterson in last night's win. Hojo to left. Bonds. That's one. Our Budweiser storyline, second game of the doubleheader, has been Jeff King with 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. Darryl Strawberry's 31st home run came in the 4th inning. You see the Mets just not scoring. Johnson and McReynolds and Ofer in the doubleheader as the left-handers have shut down the New York Mets in both the first game, which the Pirates won 1-0, and in this one with the right-handed Power on after Heaton and Kipper, the left-handers, went through 7 2/3. Tom O'Malley is the pinch hitter for Keith Miller.
The Mets, you saw, have gotten 1 run in 26 innings. They haven't even threatened. Over the last 26 innings, last night against St. Louis in the doubleheader tonight, they've only had 13 base hits.
Huge struggle. Tom O'Malley, as you see, Bud Harrelson. His Mets played St. Louis last night. They got into Pittsburgh at 3 o'clock this morning and then had to come for the doubleheader. That's why I said earlier it might be a very long 36 hours. You lose all 3 and don't do anything offensively. 2-0. O'Malley taking 2-1. Tom O'Malley's 5 for 33 as a pinch hitter. 1 home run and 5 pinch hit RBIs.
Here's the Mets version of Mark Ryle, the guy that's hung out right at the upper level of baseball.
O'Malley 2-2.
The minor league level and never quite broken through, but he's been a very, very nice role player for Buddy Harrelson this season. Nice to see some guys like this get a chance. This guy, Jack Doherty and Texas, guys like that who have hung out so long, finally getting to be a nice part of a ball club.
And expansion's coming.
And expansion is coming, which means years in the big leagues and pension and all that stuff.
2-2 delivery. 3 balls, 2 strikes on O'Malley. He'll be followed by
Mackey Sasser,
who's out in the on-deck circle to pinch hit. Three, 2, 1 out. There's Sasser, left-handed hitter. Full count delivery. Now these two teams going to have some fun over this final month. Play again tomorrow. The 2 games at Shea next week, the 3 games here to end the season.
O'Malley apparently inquiring of home plate umpire Joe West if that would have been a strike. West indicating it would have been.
Three-2 again. They'll do it a third time. Tommy Herr next to his manager. 57 and 38 under Bud Harrelson, while the Pittsburgh Pirates under Jimmy Leland have won 79 games.
Gene Lamont, one of his trusted lieutenants, next to it.
Again, 3-2. O'Malley towards the hole, leaned over. 2 down. You do have to believe, I don't think Pirates fans did, but I have a feeling after tonight, if they win this game and they're only 1 out away and sweep this doubleheader, they just may believe in this city that they've got themselves a division-winning ball club.
Gary, it was hard to believe on Monday, a gorgeous day here in Pittsburgh with no other sporting event going on. They drew only 25,000. The last couple of days may have convinced the people of Pittsburgh.
Sasser, strike 1 by Power. On the streets of Pittsburgh today, just walking around going out for lunch, all you heard were people turning to one another and saying, hey, Bucks won last night. They're in first place again. The lead will be 2.5 if they can get this final out. Power, the 0-1. Jimmy Leland knows there's another month left, but this is still sweet. Power 1 strike away from his 7th save. The 0-2. Bell, the crowd will tell you. For an incredible 5th time this season, the Pittsburgh Pirates have swept a doubleheader as they beat the Mets 1-0 and 3-1. Ted Power, save number 7.
Yes.
Final out.
Just another day at the office. Short to first. Thanks very much. See you tomorrow morning.
He loves it.
Yeah, that placid exterior. Inside, it's churning.
The National League Eastern race with the sweep of the doubleheader. The Pirates now lead the Mets by 2.5 games for each team. New York 13 at home, Pittsburgh 13 at home. They will meet each other 6 more times.
It's not so much the game in the standings here, though it's important. It's the fact that the Pirates looked the Mets right in their eyes and beat them. And that's what people wondered about down the stretch.
They didn't flinch. And I think they believe. The Pirates win. For Norm Hitzges and all of our crew in Pittsburgh, this is Gary Thorne. Thank you for joining us. Pittsburgh 3, New York 1.